At this point, are you wishing to apply for a public defender? Are you going to represent yourself?
No, sir. Again, Your Honor, like I said, I'm the living man. I'm not the corporate entity, the fictional entity, William Joseph Sullivan. I need to know, is this a civil procedure or a criminal procedure against me?
Next, I'll call case number 2025 M534, People of the State of Colorado versus William Sullivan. Good morning, Mr. Sullivan. Okay.
I'd like the record show, Your Honor, that my name is William Sullivan. I'm the living man. I'm not the entity known as William Joseph Sullivan. So I'd like to know the nature and cause of the charges that I'm here for today. I'm under threat, duress, and coercion.
Okay.
So, yes, sir.
Okay. Well, Mr. Sullivan, you're charged with a violation of Colorado Revised Statute, Section 42-4-1409, subsection 1. This is no insurance by an owner. In order to be found guilty of this offense, the state would need to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you owned a motor vehicle or low-power scooter that was required to be registered in the state of Colorado, and you operated the vehicle or permitted it to be operated on a public highway in Colorado without a complying policy or certificate of self-insurance in full force and effect as required by law. This is a Class 1 misdemeanor traffic offense. It carries a mandatory fine of $500. Half of that fine could be suspended upon a showing that insurance has been obtained. If it's your second or subsequent conviction within a period of 5 years, it could result in a fine of not less than $1,000. You're also charged with a violation of Colorado Revised Statute, Section 42-4-1402, subsection 1 and subsection 2A. This is careless driving. In order to be found guilty of this offense, the state would need to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you drove a motor vehicle, bicycle, electrical assisted bicycle, electric scooter, or low-power scooter in a careless and imprudent manner without due regard for the width, grade, curves, corners, traffic, and use of streets and highways and all other attendant circumstances. This is a Class 2 misdemeanor traffic offense. If found guilty, it carries a penalty of a fine between 10 and 90 days in jail, or a jail sentence of between 10 and 90 days in jail, a fine of between $150 to $300, and 4 points could be assessed against your driving privileges. You're also charged with a violation of Colorado Revised Statute, Section 42-4-1605. This is leaving the scene of an accident involving a highway fixture. In order to be found guilty of this offense, the state would need to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you were driving a vehicle that was involved in an accident that resulted in only damage to a highway fixture or traffic control device, and you failed to notify the road authority in charge of such property of the accident and your name, address, and registration number of your vehicle. This is a Class 2 misdemeanor traffic offense. If found guilty, you could be sentenced to 10 to 90 days in jail. You could be fined an amount of $150 to $300. You're also charged with a violation of Colorado Revised Statute, Section 42-4-1606, subsection 1. This is failing to report an accident and call police. In order to be found guilty of this offense, the state would need to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you drove a vehicle that was involved in a traffic accident that resulted in injury to, serious bodily injury to, or death of any person or resulted in any property damage, and you failed to give immediate notice of the location of the accident to the nearest office of the duly authorized police authority, or you failed to immediately return to and remain at the scene of the accident until police arrived and completed their investigation. This is a Class 2 misdemeanor traffic offense. It carries a penalty of 10 to 90 days in jail, a fine of $150 to $300. 12 points could be assessed against your driving privileges, and your license could be suspended. You're also charged with a violation of Colorado Revised Statute, Section 18-9-107, subsection 1A. This is obstructing a highway or other passageway. In order to be found guilty of this offense, the state would need to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that without legal privilege, you knowingly or recklessly obstructed a highway, street, sidewalk, railway, waterway, building entrance, elevator, aisle, stairway, or hallway to which the public or a substantial group of the public had access, or you obstructed any other place used for the passage of persons, vehicles, or conveyances. And it doesn't matter whether the obstruction arose from you acting alone or from your acts in conglomeration with the acts of others. This is a petty offense. If found guilty, you could be sentenced to up to 10 days in jail and fined an amount of up to $300. You're also charged with a violation of Colorado Revised Statute, Section 42-2-206, subsection 1A. This is driving after this is driving under revocation. In order to be found guilty of this offense, the state would need to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you operated a motor vehicle in the state of Colorado at a time at which your driving privileges were revoked. This is a Class 2 misdemeanor traffic offense. It carries a fine of between $150 to $300 and 10 to 90 days in jail. So those are the charges against you, Mr. Sullivan. At this point, are you wishing to apply for a public defender? Are you going to represent yourself?
No, sir. Again, Your Honor, like I said, I'm the living man. I'm not the corporate entity, the fictional entity, William Joseph Sullivan. I need to know, is this a civil procedure or a criminal procedure against me?
This is a criminal proceeding, Mr.
It's a criminal
Sullivan.
procedure against me. Let the record show this is a criminal procedure against me. Could you give this to Your Honor? This is a judicial demand, a rule of Nisi.
If you want to bring that up, I'll take a look at it.
Your Honor, please. Stating that I be recognized as a living man, as stated in the Bible. You're either a man, a woman, or a citizen. I'm not a second-rate citizen. I'm not a corporate fiction. Unless the DA or the court can prove to me I'm a corporate fiction, but I stand here as a living, breathing man. Also have a motion for dismissal. If this is a criminal case against me, then I have the right to face my accuser. I need to know who that is. I need to see a written affidavit from that person, and I have the right to face them if this is a criminal case.
Do you have a copy of that motion, Mr. Sullivan?
I do right here.
Okay. Why don't you bring that up as well?
Apologize, I did not get that file this morning.
Okay. And I take it that this probably hasn't been provided to the district attorney at this point, correct?
No, sir, it has not.
Okay.
I tried to get here early, but I was not able to facilitate that.
Okay. So, Mr. Sullivan, at this point, I just received these today. And
Yes,
so, I'm happy we'll put them in the court file. We'll get a copy to the district attorney. They'll have an opportunity to respond if they wish, and then I'll issue a ruling on these.
Okay.
We're going to get this set over for a pretrial readiness or a pretrial conference in about a month, maybe a little bit longer. And you'll be back at that point in time. And by that point, I'll have rulings on both these things
Thank you very much.
in advance of that.
Yes, sir.
I guess the only other thing, Mr. Sullivan, that we need to address, certainly you have a right to represent yourself. And so if that's what you want to do, you certainly are entitled to do that. Your other option is if you want to apply for a public defender, we can get you an application for a public
I'll
defender.
represent myself.
Okay, fair enough. And then the only other thing that we need at this point, we do have a fingerprint order for you. And I'm going to.
Oh, no, I won't be doing that.
So Mr. Sullivan?
There's
Mr. Sullivan?
Unless there is a written.
Mr. Sullivan, this is
Yes,
my
sir.
time to talk, please.
Okay.
There's a fingerprint order right there. I'm going to order that you complete that by the end of next week and get your fingerprint submitted. Okay. If you fail to comply with the fingerprint order, you could be held in contempt of court. Okay. And so my expectation is that you'll comply with that court order.
That fingerprint order, Your Honor, is assuming that I have committed a crime and a criminal offense.
Mr. Sullivan?
Why would I go get fingerprints if there is no accuser that has come and said I've done anything wrong to any other human being?
Yeah. So Mr. Sullivan, that's the
By
order.
the Constitution of the United States.
Mr. Sullivan, that's the order of the court. And so it's up to you whether you
That's
comply or
fine.
not.
I'll send a writ up to the higher court and we'll squash that order.
Okay, so that's the order of the court at this point in time. Ms. Davenport, any need for any sort of protection orders in this case? I don't see.
There's no damaged party, so there's no protection
I
order.
will issue the standard Title 18
Thank you,
protection
Your Honor.
order that prohibits you from harassing, intimidating, or interfering with any named witness or victim of the crime you're alleged to have committed. Okay,
Okay?
and we'll just get you a copy of that to sign. And I'm going to order that you sign that before you leave the building today.
I don't understand what the protection order is there for if there's been no one
So-
harassed. There's no person, there's no living person that's bringing the claim. So what am I getting a protection order for?
So, Mr. Sullivan, I just told you the terms of the protection order.
But who is it against? Who?
Any witness or victim of the acts you're alleged to have committed.
There is no witness or victim.
Okay, well,
Look in the paperwork.
well,
There's
then
no
you-
witness or victim.
well, if that's the case, then you don't need to worry about it. Okay.
Then why would one be issued? I don't
And
understand.
so, and then we're going to get this set over.
I mean, Your Honor, I don't think you'd be violating your oath of office by doing your duty by the Constitution. If there is no damaged party, there's no written affidavit with a competent fat witness, there is no charges here, sir.
Yep. Yep.
Yes.
There are charges, Mr. Sullivan.
But how? The state cannot bring charges against me. You're an artificial person. You're a creation of the mind only, the government. I'm a living man based on the Constitution of America. You know this is true. I'm asking for a dismissal unless you can give me a damaged party or a competent witness with them with a written affidavit of what I have done to them. This case is dismissed.
So, Mr. Sullivan, I accepted your motion to dismiss, and I'll issue a ruling on that. Okay, and we're going to set you for a pretrial conference at 10 a.m. on November 25th. Okay, so sign the protection order.
So your
fingerprints done by the end of next week, and I'll see you back on November 25th.
So I need to know before I leave. I need my Nisi Prius. I need that file. Did you put that on record?
That is in the file. That's correct.
Did you put it on record? It's in the file on record.
We've got it filed. Yep, it's in the court file.
Are you abiding by that?
Mr. Sullivan, I told you I would rule on the documents that you submitted. I just received them 2 minutes before the hearing, and so I will issue rulings on those documents.
Where's this?
Okay, I'll see you back on the 25th, and have a good rest of your day, Mr. Sullivan.